But let's start off with the match review. We lost 1-0 at Turf Moor in, wasn't a great display by any stretch of the imagination. I thought Burnley did a job on us. They played really well, as you know Burnley can do. We were talking in the preview leading up to this game exactly what we were expecting from Burnley, and that's exactly what we got, wasn't it?
Yeah, and let's be honest, the game pretty much went exactly as expected. We were just hoping we would get the goal rather than Burnley from a set piece or whatever it was, and nothing about yesterday's game surprised me. I knew it was going to be very difficult to create opportunities from open play against them. I knew we were going to have quality from wide areas to be able to really hurt Burnley. I knew that in the central areas they were going to clog it up and be very compact and be very deep and be very aggressive, and it wasn't going to be easy. And Spurs did try different solutions. We had Kulu at right wing back at one point. We had Bergwijn at left wing back at one point. We were literally going gung-ho trying our best to get a goal, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, and I can understand why Conte is so frustrated, to be honest. I don't think, in terms of the display in general, I think first half it was very meh. Like, it was just very we didn't give up anything. We didn't hurt them at all. We weren't really asking any questions of them. It was a very dull game in the first half, and we let it pass us by pretty much. I think we tried to step up in the second half. Whatever people want to say, I did think actually Winks made a bit of a positive impact when he came on, and I actually people will look to blame him, but I don't think he was that bad actually, Harry Winks, to be fair to him. So I think we started to move the ball a bit quicker. We hit the bar very early on. Ben Davies had an opportunity that Nick Pope saved. Kulusevski could have had a goal. Had a decent chance, and he flashed it just wide. And it looked like if a goal was coming, it was going to be from us. And then we were hit by a sucker punch by Ben Mee. And I knew as soon as that goal went in, it was going to be,
It was over.
Yeah, it was going to be 10 times harder to get anything out of that game, because we were kind of at our limit just to create a chance, let alone get a goal. You know what I mean? It was so hard for us to create anything. It's hard to describe. It was like trying to draw water from a stone or something. It was just like nearly impossible, to try and get a chance out of these lot.
When you have a team that sets up as well as Burnley do, defend as resolutely as Burnley do, put everyone behind the ball like they did after they got their goal, I mean, obviously it's going to come increasingly hard, but I completely agree with you in what you're saying. I mean, the first half wasn't great, but second half, I think we came out with a bit of a point to prove. We were kind of all over them, trying to get that goal, albeit we only had kind of 2 shots on target the entirety of the game. But when Burnley scored, it was 100% against a run of play. 100% against a run of play. And when you're watching the second half, we were sitting here watching, and I said to you just moments before the Burnley scored, I said, a goal's coming, a goal's coming, a goal's coming. And it did come, just went the other way, team. Completely against the run of play.
Yeah, and if I've seen other teams win a Turf Moor, and you need to kind of scrap your way to it. Arsenal, when they won 1-0, and it was thanks to a free kick from Odegaard, a really good free kick to be fair, but it's a set piece that they've got a goal from.
Liverpool only won 1-0 there.
Liverpool won 1-0, and there was also a scrappy goal from a corner. Fabinho scrambles it home, and they just about get over the line. It's not an easy place to go and create chances. The best teams have gone there and struggled to create chances. It is never an easy game, and you need the rub of the green, and we just didn't get that. But when you don't, when things aren't going for you, or if it's not going in, you have to make sure you're not conceding. Because if you concede a goal, there's little chance you'll score 1, let alone 2. And if you're asking yourselves to turn a game against Burnley away around with 2 goals late on, you're asking for trouble. It's not going to happen. They're going to be too resolute. You might get 1 goal, but it's very highly unlikely you're going to be able to scramble 2 goals home. So you've got to make sure you're keeping that clean sheet and make sure you're defending right and make sure you're not giving them anything, any encouragement. And also no stupid set pieces, so that if one chance does come away and you put it away, you win the game instead of scrambling for a draw and rushing things. And that's what happened.
Giving away these set pieces and these stupid positions time and time again in the game, and it was inevitable that we were going to get punished at one stage.
Yeah.
And it came, but the cross comes in, and Ben Mee beats Romero in the air. And I thought Romero actually played really well yesterday, but unfortunately he was the one that was at fault for the goal yesterday.
Yeah, he got out-jumped by Ben Mee, to be honest. It wasn't one of those where he didn't go for it. He does jump, but he just gets out-jumped. And he has to, I don't know, look, I have to watch it back and to see what he could have done better. But he does get caught out, and obviously that costs us. Do I think Lloris could do better? I think a more commanding goalkeeper than Hugo Lloris would have come out and got that. It's never been Lloris's forte, coming out and claiming things. I do think he does it well when there's a clear path for him to do it. But there are other keepers who will push players aside and just go for and just come and claim, like Courtois and keepers like that, who are very good at coming in, claiming crosses and being authoritative. And that's just not Lloris. That's not what he's been good at throughout his career. He either tends to punch or he tends to stay on his line, and he stayed. And that's probably another reason that cost us. But that's the thing. We had to make sure we're not conceding any goals, and then maybe look, if we don't concede in that moment, who knows? We could have gone on and won that game. Then I don't see why not. Well, we could have found a moment. We were the ones on top of that, as you say, when we conceded. I don't think yesterday's performance was terrible. Like, it was bad because, you know, when you go to Burnley away, you want to create more chances, but it's very, very difficult. And I don't think the performance-wise, that was maybe what has got Conte reacting the way he did. I don't think it was yesterday's performance. I just think it's the situation in general, having lost 4 in 5 now. At the end of the day, a loss is a loss, and it really damages us in the top 4 race, whatever way you look at it. And it was all well and good saying, oh, you know, it's difficult and this and that, but at the end of the day, you know, we might be out of the top 4 race because of it now. And that just to a manager of Conte's standard is completely unacceptable. And he doesn't want to be under those in that situation. So I don't think yesterday's performance was, you know, the worst thing we've ever seen that people might be saying it is. But I just think the situation that we've ended up in because of the result yesterday means that the situation is pretty bad.
Yeah. And I think that when you're looking at all these games that we've lost, the Southampton game was especially bad. Obviously, Chelsea, we never expected anything from that game. The Wolves game, I thought after the first 20 minutes, I don't think we were even that bad in that game. It's just what the whole form and what the results table is kind of representing at the moment. 4 losses in 5 games. And when 3 of those losses come against Wolves, Southampton and Burnley, you're looking at it and being like, bloody hell, there's no chance we're going to get this top 4 if we're pulling out these kind of results. And when you're looking at the table now, 2 weeks ago, when you looked at the table, we were in pole position, and now we're in the worst position out of everyone.
By far, probably.
So,
you know,
I mean,
Arsenal 3 points ahead with the game in hand.
And if we don't get in top 4, I mean, I don't think Conte, as much as people were saying Conte's going to walk after this game, I don't think Conte will walk from now to the end of the season, but he will walk in the summer. If maybe we don't get top 4, we can't get the targets he wants in, and then Harry Kane's going to make noises and all this kind of stuff. So it's all what this whole thing represents. It's not about individual games. It's looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, and obviously there was. I'm not trying to say we played well yesterday, because there was a lack of quality in a lot of moments where we needed there to be a lot more quality. It's like Emerson. I think actually had one of his better games, but again,
still poor though.
Exactly. Once he gets in the final third, not enough from him. I want to see more from him with quality inside the box. I think there are a few moments he did his best. For example, when Davis did have that chance, it was only because Emerson kept that ball alive and kept it in the box, which were able to create that opportunity, and we nearly scored from it. I think he did get forward really well, and I think a few times he was finding Kulu inside the box, and maybe Kulu could have done better. But still, there are opportunities there where he's completely free on the right-hand side. Kane's finding him, and he's putting a ball in the box, and the quality's not there. He's not finding a man. He's not whipping it in. It's floated. It's easy to defend against. And we need to be doing better in that situation. Session on the other side, I don't think I think for who he is as a player, I don't think he did badly. There was one moment where he burst into the box, he put it across the face of goal, and that was a really good moment, and I think he did well. But you know, when I think Conte relies so heavily on those wing-back areas, when they're only playing at 6 out of 10s, that really hurts you. kind of thing.
With Sessegnon, I was actually a bit disappointed with Sessegnon yesterday because there were a few moments with Sessegnon where he's getting the ball on the left-hand side, he's one-on-one with the defender, and yeah, he does take on his man and try and get something, but that was too few and far between. There were so many times in the game yesterday where Sessegnon gets it on the left-hand side, you're going, attack that defender, get across in the box, and he either attacks the defender and fails to get the cross in the box, or he just checks back and passes it backwards. And the quality just wasn't there from Sessegnon last night, as opposed to when maybe you're looking at better performances against like the Liverpools and the Man Cities and stuff like that, when he's actually asked to have the ball and take on his man and actually provide positively for the team without the defensive work that he was doing in those Liverpools and Man City games, he's found wanting a lot of the time.
One thing about our wing backs, which I think definitely, I don't know whether it's, I'm pretty sure they're just not doing it, but Conte, we know from how he likes to play, when one wing back has the ball in an attacking position, he likes the furthest wing back on the opposite side to get in the box and be in an attacking position, and that's something we've seen Reguilon do on good occasions, and he's nearly got a few goals from it, and he's gotten a lot of very good positions from it. But it's not something we see from Emerson and Sessegnon. I very rarely see them in the box trying to hurt the opposition. I rarely see them in a very goal-scoring position. And the reason why playing, especially when you play against a back four, that is so crucial, is because they unless the winger is tracking them all the way back to the back post, which is very unlikely, they're going to be free at the back post. They're going to have a free opportunity at goal if they break their necks to get into the box. All of a sudden, with because you got Son, Kulu and Kane already in the box, going to be marked from by the defender, that guy can become a free man. So I think that's where the quality of the fullbacks is lacking. I think not just quality on the ball, but positionally, we don't see them in the positions that we know Conte's fullbacks like to be in a lot. And Marcos Alonso was brilliant at that. Victor Moses was very good at that. They've in the past they've had very good wing backs. Hakimi was thriving at that as well. But Emerson and Sessegnon, especially, I think Reguilon does it, but I think Sessegnon and Emerson, I very rarely see them in the box, and that's something that they need to improve on. Definitely. Even Doherty against Leicester, he was there a lot of the time. But Emerson, we never see him there.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And you know what? It's a really hard one to take this morning. Not just because of the loss, but just because of the whole mess surrounding this club at the moment. It's just really hard to take. I mean, the whole of the fan base is completely up in arms right now. I mean, I was listening to TalkSport on the way in. Some fans calling in, laying into Conte. Some fans calling in, laying into Levy. I mean, I don't know which way to turn, but in terms of more on the game last night, was there anyone that kind of impressed you in terms of moving forward?
I don't think anyone impressed me no one did anything I didn't expect. I think Romero had a good game. I think defensively, to be honest, apart from the set pieces, I think from open play we had them. We were pretty solid. I think, especially in the second half, I think we actually dominated. We had a lot more possession than we did in the first half in dangerous areas, and I think for me personally, I think Romero had a good game. I think Dyer had a pretty good game. I think he was playing some really nice passes in and around the penalty area.
Having thought about it last night, I actually thought Dyer was our best player.
Yeah,
last
I
night.
think he had a really good game actually, Eric Dyer. In the forward areas, there wasn't many. I think Kulu was probably our most involved attacker. He was the one getting in the positions, but unfortunately he didn't make that quality count. He had obviously that one opportunity where he nearly found the back post, but that went just wide. He was the one, though, operating in spaces to hurt Burnley. I felt Son and Kane were stifled. I'm not going to lie. They were marked out the game. They weren't able to really affect things.
Yeah,
and
even when Son got on the ball, he was making weird decisions last night. His decision making, I thought, was terrible last night. And Son should be doing a lot better because he was getting the ball, beating a man, getting in some open spaces. He did have time and space on his hands yesterday, Sonny, more than Kane did. And I thought Son should be doing a lot better with the moments that he did have. Yeah,
I've quite questioned it before, and it's these kind of games that make it more that make it evident that this inside left forward position. As I said, I don't think he cannot play. I don't think he's terrible there. But I've always said, does it get the best out of him? And I think we're yet to see the best Son in that position just as of yet. And I think in games like yesterday, Son, we all know Son thrives with wherever the space is. That's where he lives. He's always the best. So that's why, you know, when we play City and we play Liverpool, he always looks so good, because he's always got oceans of space to run into, and that's what he loves. Also, in games like yesterday, he's much better when he's playing out on the left-hand side as opposed to a bit in the centre, because that's where the space is. You know, when he's taking on a fullback, whipping it across, that's where he can find the space. So I think yesterday it was a very he did have a few opportunities to make it count, and actually there was one moment where he did find Kulu to nearly score, and that was a good breakaway, and he did well there, and that time laying off for Kulu. But you're right, there was one moment he could have slid in Kane, he didn't. That was really disappointing, and I think for a large part of the game he was stifled in the central areas, because I think when he's got so many defenders around him in tight spaces, he struggles a bit, Sonny. And unless he's going to manoeuvre a shooting opportunity, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to be operating in those kind of spaces. Harry Kane had about 4 players whenever he touched the ball.
Literally, yeah. He did a proper job on him last night.
Yeah. They decided to not let him go whenever he went deep. They decided to track him all the way. But the difference between that and when happened against City is, against City they also tracked him, but because they were pressing so high, they had all those players. They had all that space behind Kane when he was being tracked, which means if he got to turn, he could find an easy pass to Kulu or Son in behind to hurt them. When we played Burnley, Kane was being tracked, yet the rest of the defence was so deep, and there was also maybe the defensive midfielders as well filling in position. When he was able to turn and when he was able to actually wriggle away, which was actually not many occasions, it happened on 2 or 3 occasions, there was still a massive wall to get past, rather than all the oceans of space to play into. And so they clearly had a plan for how Kane likes to operate, and it worked. And whenever Kane stayed up front, they just outnumbered him, and it was very difficult for him to, he was resorting to long effort, long shots, which were going nowhere. He did kind of nearly get one with his left foot from 25 yards, went just wide, and he did hit the bar as well from a set piece. But other than that, he did have very, very little yesterday, Harry Kane.
Yeah, that's definitely true.